little bit about the excitement of getting into the tournament. It's got to feel great, right?
It does. It feels good. I mean, our guys put in an awful lot of work. Our coaching staff puts in an awful lot of effort and everything to kind of get to this point. I think that when guys come into the program now, they come in expecting to go to the postseason, to be in the NCAA tournament. So, we're kind of right where we want to be at this stage of the game as far as playing in the postseason and being healthy for the most point. I think, we're pretty happy with. We're very thankful to the committee for selecting us and also giving us, a pretty fair draw. Being on the East Coast and not too far. So I mean, honest to God, I really can't I can't complain about anything right now.
Were you confident the way your season went that you would make the tournament, or how's your play afforded you the opportunity to get into the tournament?
Well, I feel like we did. I mean, we the first 60% of our season was very strong. I mean, if you look back at it, the last 40% we were kind of not quite as consistent. Our bullpen wasn't as consistent. Our run production wasn't as consistent. But I would also argue that if you looked at 90% of the other teams in college baseball, it's not like they're just running through everything. It was probably with the exception of Oregon State and some people like that just never lose. Everyone has some bumps in the road at times, and we went through that in the last 4 weekends of the season. Our guys did finish strong in the tournament. We lost 2 games, 2 one-run games, but we won 3 games, knocked out the top seed Nebraska. And I feel like our guys, are playing pretty well right now. We've gotten some good starts. In this sport, you have to take the ups with the downs and hope that your team is playing consistently at the end and playing hard at the end, and I think our guys are doing that.
Is that something that you look forward to springboarding you into the NCAA tournament? As far as because you said at the end of the season things are down a little bit.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of thing that the coach looks at?
I think so. I mean, I think our guys take pride in the fact that in teams in the past year have played well in the postseason, and I'd like to think that our guys, want to kind of keep that tradition, so to speak, and they're prepared to do that. And these 4 days give us a little bit of time off, where we have some light workouts after going through a brutal 4 days in Bloomington, where you're just playing. It's a tough 4 days. A lot of playing at different times, using an awful lot of pitching, and not playing. They weren't, and none of those games are easy games. None of the postseason games are easy games. So this a little bit of a time off gives us some time to kind of regather before we go down at Wake Forest.
I ask you what are the strengths? You can name off a couple of strengths that you like about the team, particularly as you're going into the tournament.
Well, I think we've won 37 games, and our RPI was in pretty good position, and I don't think there's like one or two. I mean, we've had pretty fair starting pitching most of the year. If you look at our numbers, our bullpen has been way more better than not so good for the most part. And then we've had a lot of I don't know what we're averaging the game as far as runs per game, but I mean, I think we can score runs a lot of different ways, with power, with speed, with our short game at times. I would use 2 guys as an example that were not really super duper productive at the beginning of the year, who now I think are 2 of our best players. AJ Lee being one of them, our third baseman, who's been, he was a 3rd-team all-conference guy, and he's been one of our best position players. And a guy like John Murphy, who at the beginning of the year, was trying to find out a role for himself, and he's gotten to a point where he's one of our top relievers. And that's what kind of drives the team, I think, into the postseason, is 2 guys like that. And I don't know where we'd be without the production of those 2 guys right now.
Of the other 3 teams in the region, you've seen 2 of them in the regular season, West Virginia and UMBC, and beaten them both. How much confidence does that give you going down the Wilson Sally?
I think a fair amount. I mean, they were both good games that we played here against those teams. I think our guys just feel good about going out and playing right now, regardless of who we're playing. I mean, we need good pitching and good defense to stay in games. But regardless of whether we're playing them or really anybody else, I think our guys are just happy to be in the postseason, looking forward to playing the postseason, and I think they're prepared to play in the postseason.
This is the 3rd time in 4 years that this program has made the NCAA regional. What do you think that says about the program, and what do you think it means for the program?
Well, the one thing we try to establish here is consistency, and we've been to the 4 straight conference tournaments, won at least 2 games every year, went to 2 conference tournament finals, been to 3 regionals. So, like, I think it says a lot about the consistency of the players, of their preparation, and that's what we're striving to have, consistency. Really, I think any college coach would tell you that, and regardless of the sport. And, you know, with the turnover in college baseball, with the draft and things, I think that being consistent is the thing we really strive for the most.
Does this consistency breed consistency? Does it help you in the future just to show that you have a track record of being consistent and attracting the future players?
I think it has. You know, I think from the time that we kind of broke through a little bit in 2014 until now, I think the consistency then has led us to where we are now. We're able to recruit good players. We're able to come and be productive right away for the most part. And, yeah, I think the answer to your question is yes. Yeah.
Even though it's been through the last 4 years in regional for you guys, there's only a handful of guys still left in that 2015 team that played a significant amount in that UCLA regional against West Virginia.
Yep.
So with the inexperience of some of the younger guys coming in, how do you think that plays a role?
Well, that's the thing. As a coach, as a staff, you take a lot of pride in is, you know, I think that the programs that have the most success in college athletics are the ones that can do it with different players. That's what we're trying to do is to, when we bring in guys, they kind of know, they've seen the success in the past, they hopefully know what to expect, and they expect to do it themselves when they get here. And that's, I mean, we only have one guy in the program now that was not recruited by us, Jared Price. He's the 5th year, he's the only guy, you know, and Jared obviously helped us dramatically beat Nebraska the other night. So, you know, we're doing it with different players, which is a good thing for the players, good thing for our staff. You know, I just like where we're at as far as that goes.
Coach Brian Schaefer, recruited at high school, wasn't a top prospect. I think perfect game had him as like the 16th best prospect in Maryland.
Right.
What did you see from him back in high school, and what has he worked on to become one of the Big Ten's best pitcher?
Well, I mean, he always had a pretty easy, clean delivery back then. It hasn't changed a whole lot. He's gotten a lot stronger since he's been the 3 years he's been here. He's developed into being one of the better strike throwers I've been around in college baseball in the years I've been working in it. And to his credit, he's also adapted to working with 2 pitching coaches in his 3 years. Just with Jimmy leaving last year for Kentucky, you know, him and Ryan have worked well together. And I give our catchers a lot of credit too, Morris and Maynard and Sierra, how they've handled him and the rest of our staff to get us to a point where we can win 37 games and have the pitcher of the year in the league, have the freshman of the year in Blome, who's also a pitcher, obviously. So a lot of credit goes to the catchers as well as Ryan Fecto coming in and adjusting to us. That's hard to come in and work with a new staff. You got a lot of young guys, you got a lot of old guys. On one end, you have the pitcher of the year, who's a veteran guy. On the other end, you have the freshman of the year. I mean, there's a lot to say, not just for the players themselves, but I think for the work he did with them also.
And Coach just talking about Marty, his development coming from Baltimore, and what you see from him. Obviously, he packs a lot.
No, Marty's a great story because, I mean, before he got here, he had only played, he was a 3-sport athlete in high school, hadn't played a lot of baseball, not really on a high level. He wasn't like one of these guys that comes in and is playing all the travel baseball stuff in the summer and getting all tons and tons, hundreds of at-bats. He's never had that. So he's really played the game full-time for about maybe 2.5 years. So I think his ceiling is clearly pretty high. The guy's a first-team All-League player. He's been an All-Star in the Ripken League. He's set to go to Cape Cod this summer. So I think this time next year, you know, you could certainly be putting him in the light of a Schaefer, of a really premium draft pick because of his ability to hit. But he's also, I mean, he's one of the rare guys in college baseball who has just raw power, you know. And he also can play all 3 outfield positions too. Like he's developed very quickly, and I think he's got a really good future, not just in the college game, but at the pro game whenever he decides to become a pro.
Did you happen to watch any of his highlights on the gridiron when he was at Curly?
Yeah, a few. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have to tackle him. I wouldn't want that guy coming at me with shoulder pads on. No way.